Alright, bad boys. Hope you guys are well. I am doing this on a Saturday instead of a Sunday because I got a lot of spare time right now. I just want to say, hope you guys are enjoying your week, enjoying life in general, and that everything is not going well, but things are enjoyable for you. Just because something is tough doesn't mean we can't have joy and be in that joy while we go through that. So, let's get started. Last week was for an example of joy, last week was a shit show. But I still enjoyed talking to the camera, even though the product itself didn't come up that well. The process in which I got to do it was very enjoyable for me. But we're here again, and I'm feeling a little bit weird. Like before I started this, I was very inspired. I was listening to some music and going for some walks. I like to walk and kind of just think, not think too hard, but just it's a mindfulness type of thinking, in the sense of I let my thoughts flow, and through those thoughts, it's almost like a tree, right? And branches come off that main thought, and then there's trees, and that's how I kind of feel about this word. And of course, my walk started off with believe, which is the word of the week for this week. And believe is to accept something as true or real, which is so vague, but also says so much at the same time. And so for me this week, kind of put that into the back of my head, and every night I write believe, accept something as true or real. And I really don't think about it that much, but in life, it's so interesting in how everyone has such fundamental beliefs about how life should be lived, what is the right way to live life, what is the right way to act in life. And to me, it's so funny because when people ask me questions, I usually say, I pull the kind of the Schopenhauer being an idiot. I don't know. Some people I tell my beliefs to, or my opinions, in the end of the day. But I usually say I don't know to people who I really don't know that well, because I kind of want to be that blank canvas for them in many ways. And some may see it as manipulative, but I don't see it at all. Because one thing I've been noticing throughout my life with a lot of my friends is, I was talking to a friend today actually, after training. And I asked them, I was like, everyone I hang out with feels like everyone else is stupid. And I asked, do you think that's me? Right? The people I surround myself with are people who think that everyone else is stupid? Or do you think that that's just how everyone is? That every single individual thinks that the people they surround themselves with, and those people think that their cohort, right, and the opinions that they share are the right ones, and that the people outside of that are wrong. And this person said, no, I think that you do surround yourself with intelligent people, and that most people don't even think about this. And my belief around this, and I believe that what I've noticed in life is, and as Marcus Aurelius says too, is no one acts or thinks in a way that they deem illogical. Right? So if a stupid person does something and everyone's just like, oh my gosh, or if someone does something, I shouldn't even say stupid, people probably view me and see what I do and think, what the fuck? This person is just, I can't accept the fact that this person did that. And I have done so many things in my life where even I look back and I'm like, I can't even believe I just can't believe that was real. Right? There's no way I can believe that happened, and yet I did it. And that's because I cannot accept the fact that was once true to my evidence, that was the right thing to do. I can't accept the fact that that was a real thought process that I have. And so, I do think that, I mean, we all think we're intelligent to some capacity, right? I mean, maybe I didn't think I was very school smart growing up, but I thought, like, I mean, maybe I didn't think I was that intelligent, but I thought I had some validity in whatever my beliefs were, right? Especially in beliefs, I think, in believing something is true or real. Because it comes back to that subjective thing. There is no objective behind this. Which is so interesting to me. That believing something, faith, believing that your opinion is right, believing that your family is the best, believing in just anything, it can be so falsifiable. So, back to believing, right? And the thing I really want to share about when it comes to believing is our opinions, especially, just because it's just so polarizing to me how people get so worked up around religion, morals are the two biggest one. Everything else in the world I really don't give a shit about. I don't give a fuck about politics. I mean, I do, but not really. I know for myself that's not something I was born to do, nor was I. It is in my logos, as the Stoics would say. It is not something that I am meant to dabble in as much. But when it comes to morals and beliefs, or not morals and beliefs, morals and religion, faith, right? We have these convictions where we just link onto it as it being so true that we would defend it with our lives. And I can see that brings lots of purpose. Jesus Christ said this, and all these other people are following it. Muhammad said this, and all these other people are following it. Right? I don't know, fucking Ganesh said this, and all these other people follow it. And the evidence, which is real, which is the feeling I get when I practice these religions, the evidence which is real, which is the scripture which I see, the evidence that is real and true, that all these historians and scholars, priests who have spent their lives studying this, see and accept is real. And it makes it more real that there is so much, that so many others believe, right? And I'm not here to say that religion is fake, because in the end of the day, I don't know shit. And for all I know, I have believed in Christianity, and my life has been good, my life has been bad. I have prayed to God, my prayers have been answered. I have prayed to God, my prayers have not been answered. I have not prayed to God, the answers came. I did pray to God, the answers didn't come. I don't know. In my life, the evidence, what is true or real, has not been placed on one scripture, because life for me, I guess, is weird. For some, they say they come to God and their life changes for the better. I used to go to church all the time asking to get saved in a certain way, and thought that if I went to church and read the Bible and learned more about scripture, then I was going to be saved. And I believed in being saved, and I still do. I still believe that there is something greater out there, but none of that matters so much to me as just having a belief and accepting that something is true or real. Which is so weird, because I'm talking about all this false evidence and, the way that I came to believe, and a lot of it is rejecting, right? Not just accepting, I reject so much. I question. I look at little minute things and I say, why didn't that happen? Right? Well, God has a plan. Why didn't that happen? Well, God made it this way, so it could be this way, right? But as the scientist I am, and the intelligent human being I am, which I do not deem myself to be any more smart than the normal person on a sidewalk, I question. And through that questioning, that accepting becomes harder and harder. That accepting becomes the most difficult thing in believing. Because I know the Bible is a real thing. I can see that it was, I mean, I don't know if it was probably true. But the accepting of it is what comes hard for me. And I'm going to change it to morals for now. Because I was having a conversation with someone, and they said that without religion, people wouldn't have morals. Right? Without Christianity, without Islam, without Eastern philosophies, Confucianism, Taoism, without all the numerous cults, without all the Hindu, right? All the other Eastern religions. There is a claim, and I think many see this as that there would be no morals. And there's a belief, and there's a believing of accepting that human nature is inherently bad. Right? Accepting that humans are inherently bad and seeing it as real. Which is why I think the rejection of religion and the rejection of the fact that morals really are subjective and are not grounded things that we have to have is so hard. And the way I say this is, growing up in life, my morals have changed so much. What I deem as good, what I deem as bad, what I deem as acceptable for myself. But I think the unique thing is that I believe that no two individuals will have the same morals. And what that means is my morals will never be the same. Maybe they will, in a rare case, but my morals will not be the same as the people around me. And that has been demonstrated time and time and time and time again. I used to believe so wholeheartedly that the way I lived life and the way that I thought of morality was the right way, and that nothing else was right. And you want to hear the funny thing about this whole entire thing? That brought me more pain and suffering than the way that I live now. Accepting the fact that my religion, beliefs, my moralities, my opinions brought me more pain and suffering than the letting go of it. And so that's why I think believing is so funny, is because we construe the word so much nowadays, and we put so much emphasis on it. Instead of saying it's okay not to have a belief, it's okay to question, the first word that we have is accepting. Accept your fate. Accept the fact that this is real. This is true. Which I tend to disagree with. The only way you can come to believe something is through utter defeat of what you accept in something that you something that you accept as something as true or real. That is the only way you can come to believe. And I can tell you that from my own personal experience. If you want a belief that will not bring you pain and more hurt, then the only way to come to that is through the pain and hurt. And what I mean by that is the rejection of what you think is true. And you want to hear something funny? I struggle with this probably more than anyone else. I have such strong opinions and such strong beliefs on everything. You could ask me and I could probably talk about it for an hour. And I know plenty of people who do the exact same thing. And why do I do it? The reason I do it is to protect myself from realizing how goofy and how much of a fucking monkey I am. Because I like to think there's purpose, there's reason, there is flow and logic running through this. There ain't much. I find it so funny that there's so much fucking opinion on the internet, and there's so many things that people are like, if you want to be a masculine man, you gotta read, you gotta do your journaling, you gotta stand up, and you gotta make sure you puff out your chest, and you gotta do martial arts, and you gotta walk around like you gotta lead. And then you got the other side, and then you got other sides, and then you got people who are like, you are damned to hell if you do not believe. And then you have other people who are like, there is no hell. And then you got people who just are, I guess, like me, who are like, okay, I don't know, and there's no way I can prove it right or wrong, and the thought of it is entertaining, but I don't know. It is what it is in the end of the day. And that, what I've experienced in life is joy and peace when I really do accept it, the suck of it. So, my thoughts are kind of flowing. I guess, in the end of the day, what I'm trying to say right now is, I believe accepting the fact that you do not know shit, and I don't know shit, and that you listening to my opinions, in a sense, is good because it creates conversation and I like to do it. But in the end of the day, it really doesn't have any real substance besides the fact it's another human being connecting with another human being. And that's what I believe in. Right? The only reason we have these certain things is so then we can tell ourselves what our place is in society. But in the end of the day, I believe that the reason I'm here on this world is to experience life with other idiots. I mean, that's just the truth. Right? I mean, what's the one way? I'm gonna give you a second. Do you know what the worst torture is in the world? It's what they say is solitary confinement. Because no matter how hard you fight it, no matter what you do, you will eventually break and go fucking nuts. And the reason is because you are not around other creatures. You are not around other living things. Without life, there's nothing to tell you that you are alive. You are the same thing as that fucking wall. And you believe you couldn't be that wall. You believe you could not be real. Right? And the evidence points to that. And so, in this era of internet and social media and just so much fucking information, so much right and wrong, so much this and that, to stand up, especially to the men, to stand up as a man and say this is the right way to do it, I look at that and I say, that person has never even contemplated, nor having even stepped into the depths of why they are doing it. it just really does kind of leave a sick feeling in my stomach when I look back and I just see so many things of this is that, and this is the correct way to do it and all that. And I feel that a lot of us are told what to do by teachers, parents, coaches, and that the real joy is in exploring it yourself, to coming to believing in something on your own with no outside opinions. Right? That's what they say, like, kids are meant to explore and play. And that's the issue of school, is that there is no exploring or playing. It's this or that. And that the child's mind, which is so curious and so emotional, right and left hemisphere, we're more right hemisphered when we're very young. And the reason why we have that is so that we can connect with others better. That is the whole entire point about the fucking right side of your brain. That is the whole entire point about the right side of your brain. That is why women develop, I think it's 300% faster than men, so that they can connect with people better. That's the whole entire reason. It's not so that they can get ahead in fucking fighting. It's not so that they can get ahead in school. It's not so that they can get ahead in aerodynamics and save the world from climate change. It's so that they, and even men at a very young age, we don't develop as fast, but physiologically our right hemisphere grows more at a very young age. Is the whole entire point is to connect. And that's the first thing that starts to develop. Then the logical side, then the whole entire X, Y, Z, A, B, C, like this whole entire side starts to develop. That comes later. And I'd like to think, just like school, the human body, right, we kind of prioritize the important things to be developed first, right? You don't just go into calculus, you gotta develop the basics, right? Just like the basics to the spirit is to connect. And of course we're in these vessels which, biology, we need to be carried around in. So, back to believing and accepting something as true or real. I'm just going to say it. Don't worry. This is to myself. Don't worry too much about being right. Don't worry to even have a belief. Don't worry to say, I don't know. Because no one really does know. And if someone tries to throw evidence and convince you that what they're believing is correct, listen and explore. You don't need to be convinced. To accept something as true or real usually doesn't take conviction, right? I think, therefore I am. I know that's real. I came to that because the evidence points nowhere else. That's why I accept it as real. I accept the fact that I'm alive as real because the evidence points nowhere else. I accept the fact that this is a desk because the evidence points nowhere else. So if you really aren't grounded in the beliefs that you have, don't be worried. There's no wrong in that. Change. The wrong is when you can't accept that you are wrong, or that what you are saying is not true or real, or what you believe is not true or real. That is where my morals step in. That is where my believing of that's the wrong part, is not being open-minded to a change in that. So, I think next week we're going to talk about acceptance. Acceptance is going to be the word. And as you can tell, I don't know why when I talk, like, my voice starts to hurt and my head kind of starts to hurt. And I think it's because I have all this pent up, like, just a lot of stories and whatnot to tell, but I'm saving them. Stepping the foot in the water first, seeing how things go. But I do believe that this is the right thing to do. Because whenever I do it, the only evidence I have is that I feel better. But no one else can tell me what's right or wrong with that. So that's all I have this week. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are pursuing what you want to pursue. I hope you guys are taking these talks or whatever and taking what you like and disagreeing with me. I think is the best part is that disagreement. And not arguing about it, but just having that disagreement. Because that means you've experienced something that I haven't experienced, and that's beautiful. I won't experience as much in life, but I know I won't be able to. I have certain wants and desires, and I just have a certain fate, which is not in my control in many ways. I can't control the atoms that were sprung out by the Big Bang billions of years ago and control which way the immovable mover will move things, as I think Plato and Aristotle say. And there's a beauty in that. But overall, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I look forward to talking to you next week.